Some of these, if I start blurring my words, it's only because I can't read them. Mr. Pratt, where's Mr. Pratt? I just have one thing that I have to comment about what you said. My wife's a doctor here at Amador Hospital, and I think that she does a good job. But she's a gynecologist, so you probably wouldn't ever have the opportunity to see her. Yeah. And to Lynn, my father-in-law was one of the doctors at the Pioneer Clinic, Dr. Ross. And he talks a lot about how they really need to have health care up there and how it's an issue that they don't have it. Okay, so for over the past month or so, I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of people about the race that I'm in, candidate for county superintendent. And I've had several emerging themes that have become questions that I try to answer and I try to talk about when I'm out on the campaign trail. Actually, there's four. One of the questions I constantly get is not about the race at all, but they want to know where I'm from because they think I have an accent. And so when I knock on people's doors, I think they have the accent. But I've done everything from Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas, and as a social studies teacher, I'm really glad that they know where the Deep South is, and so if they recognize a Southern accent, that's probably where it comes from. I've been coming to Amador County for about 24 years. As I said to Lynn, my father-in-law lives in Pine Grove, and he was a physician at the Pioneer Clinic. My wife and I met at West Virginia University. I was finishing my doctorate degree in special education, and she was doing her residency in OBGYN. And we met. I kind of thought after my first trip to California that I would be a Californian as soon as we got married, but that really wasn't in the cards, and she accepted a position in West Virginia, and so I already worked there already had a position myself as a professor at Marshall University. So we started out in West Virginia and stayed there for about 20 years. And while we were there, I had a lot of opportunity to work as a professor, as a university professor, as a college dean, and as a dean of the graduate college. I directed the special ed program for people who wanted to become special education teachers. I thought it was important that special education teachers were a part of the mainstream at the college level, the collegiate level, as well as the school level, the K-12 level. One of the things I did as an administrator in college was to develop Americans with Disabilities Act programs for students who had disabilities, that had IEPs in their K-12 experiences, and who wanted to continue college and have many of those same modifications. And with the American with Disabilities Act, they're allowed to have that. A lot of times they don't know it, but they get it. At where I teach now at Argonaut High School, and I know they do the same at Independence and at Amador, we work closely with the kids who are trying to figure out what they're going to do after they graduate. Many of our kids aren't going to go to college. I love the idea that we have a College Connect, and hopefully we can have some programs that are more vocational in nature for our kids, because they're not going to go there. So we have to decide as teachers, and we do this from the time the student is identified, what we can do to help them to become independent adults. And to become an independent adult, you have to be able to work. People ask me a lot, why do you want to be county superintendent when we already have one? Amy's there and she's my boss, so I have to say nice things. I want to be county superintendent because I have some differences of opinions than Amy does about what the special ed side of the house needs to have happen. The elected county superintendent, there's 53 of them in California. We know we have 58 counties, 5 of them are appointed. But of those 53 county superintendents, they all have the same responsibility, and that is to provide fiscal and oversight to the district with their budget, with their LCAP, their local control funding, and they have the responsibility of providing oversight over special education and disenfranchised youth. Disenfranchised youth include kids who are foster kids and kids who are in our community and our court schools. And so I think that with my background and experience, that I could provide a different seat at the table than what we already have, and that's why I'm running. So what is it that I can provide that, not that Amy can't, but maybe I can differently because of who I am and what I've done for my life's work. I'm a champion of special education, and I think that the superintendent of the county needs to be that. I think that when you sit at the table and decisions are being made about budget, about how money is going to be spent, when you have a budget, the budget has to be cut, what things you're going to cut out. I want to be there to say, hey, this affects special ed this way, or this affects special ed in another way. There's a couple of examples that I'd like to share with you. And I'm trying not to be critical to Amy. It's just that we do have some differences, and I think the election brings those differences out. One of the things that we see differently is our workability program. Several of you have talked. I have 1 minute left. Oh my gosh. All right, several of you have talked about opportunities for kids after they graduate high school. One of the programs that we have is funded through a workability grant through the state, and it gives us 12 hours of work per month for students to engage, for special ed students to engage in a job somewhere. And we have a job coach, one of our job coaches from the high school is here, and we put the kids in different placements where they can learn the skill to transition from high school to adult to help them make them independent. We used to get 40 hours a week, and under our current administration, we cut that down from 40 to 12 because the hours, other than the 12 hours, have to be paid for somewhere, and we have been paying for them with, I keep looking at her, district money. Maybe you can ask me a question about it. Thank you. It seems to me that I talked about 1.5 minutes. Okay.
I don't have a question, really more a comment. I've been the recipient, proudly, of workability kids coming to my cafe. I love being first employment opportunities. 12 hours is not enough a month. Thank you.
Okay, she said that she asked a question about workability, and we have kids from our high school, from Argonaut, placed at her cafe, and she stated that she didn't feel like 12 hours a month was enough to help them understand what the job was. I would assume to provide coaching and all that goes with it. Okay, Mr. Loren?
Still
Bob?
So what would you, all of the money has to come from somewhere, we've got the single pot. What pot would you move it from to restore the funding and workability?
I think that I would look at all the pots and see, I would have to examine what we have going out, for whichever program is there, and try to make some decisions on where we can make cuts. But again, my job as the county superintendent would be to say, when you're making those cuts, is, hey, this really affects the mainstay of what we do in transition for our students. And so I would want to be a part of the decision-making process where we look at the different items in the budget. I don't have anything specific that I would cut, not like a program that I would cut out completely, but maybe just how we manage and spend money. Okay.
If you were elected, would you rearrange the structure from what it is now to what it has been in the past?
She asked me if I were, when I'm elected, or if I'm elected, would I rearrange the structure of what it has been in the past? What are you specifically referring to?
The board and the organizational structure of the board and all the assignments.
Well, right.
Sorry, I don't have the right. Sorry.
Okay, the structure of the board and what the management tree looks like?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, right now she's got the cards over there. Right now on the county side, the one that I'm working for, we have a district board and we have a county board, and it's the same people. And on the county side, we have finances and we have special education. On the district side, we have the associate superintendent for curriculum instruction and the associate superintendent for human resources. I don't know that we would need to change anything. I think that we would just need to work within the organizational structure to make sure that how we're spending our money and what the programs are and our policies are positive. Every decision we make has to be what's best for children, regardless of what our own opinions are. have to read the other 4 pages of my speech.
Thank you, Dr. Steve Russell. And